wanted to make sure to be here for our College Council meeting, and then we have our managers meeting after College Council. I want to thank Tilly for stepping in my place for some meetings this morning. Welcome to College Council. As you all know, College Council is the highest level of governance and communication at San Diego City College. My name is Ricky Shabazz. I have the honor and privilege of being the president of City College. I am representing our Knights baseball team today. Was able to get some City College gear that I wore while on a trip to Africa. As a matter of fact, I'm going to invite Malcolm, our City College student who transferred to San Diego State and was able to attend the trip with me. For those of you who don't know Malcolm's story, he is a formerly incarcerated student who totally changed his life around, thanks in part to City College, our great faculty, support services. Malcolm is now in his last year at San Diego State, majoring in religious studies. So Aaron, if we could reach out to Malcolm, I'd like to have him present his experience on the trip in the next College Council meeting. We're also working with Nisha in the HUBU committee to have Malcolm present as part of HUBU. But back to College Council, this is the highest level of governance for City College, also where we have presentations and we give out information, pertinent information about what's going on at the college. And so I would like to begin with identifying the leads of the constituency groups. And these leads are very important. If there's something you would like to bring to them for an agenda item for College Council, you can do so. You can also email the president's office, Erin Flanagan. Thank you. She provides leadership behind the scenes, makes sure that these webinars are functioning. But you can reach out to Erin as well if you would like to have an agenda item. So let's begin with the roll call. Paul Alexander, past President, Academic Senate. Tilly Chavez, Vice President of Instruction.
Present.
Aaron Deddy, Administrative Representative.
Present.
Robbie, Chair of Institutional Technology.
Present.
Caesar, Public Information Officer.
Present.
Jocelyn, Supervisory Representative. Nadia, President, Chairs Cabinet.
Present.
Susan Murray, Dean, Institutional Effectiveness and the Chair of IMPROC.
Present.
John Parker, Vice President of Administrative Services.
Present.
I want to congratulate Marciano, who was formerly announced as the acting Vice President of Student Services.
Present.
Josh, our wonderful ASG representative.
Present.
Sean, President, Classified Senate.
Present.
And Darius, there's interim president of the Academic Senate, but I believe he's the president-elect, which makes him the interim president because Massa has promoted to the acting dean position.
Not president-elect, but just acting by appointment. And I apologize, my connection's a little weak, so I don't have my camera on, but I am present.
Great, and Darius, I'm looking forward to learning how the movement's going to affect the Academic Senate. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, again, these are the leaders of the constituency groups at San Diego City College. So should you have an agenda item, a discussion topic, I would encourage you to reach out to any of these members. They would be able to put an agenda item on a future College Council meeting. You could also do the same by reaching out to the president's office. We would love to have you present and/or have an item for discussion. Speaking of discussion, I'd like to take a motion for the approval of the July 20th meeting minutes. Is there a brave soul who would like to motion?
Ricky,
Chair.
I'll move to approve.
Great,
I'll
great,
second.
thank you. And if just for sake of the recording, because we are being recorded, if you could identify yourselves, I believe there was a first by Robbie and a second by Aaron.
Yes, Robbie, you're Ricky. I move to approve.
Ricky Aarondetti, I second the movement.
Great, thank you. You know, when we aren't sharing the screen, then the boxes light up. But when we're sharing a document, I can't see you all's beautiful faces. So we've got a first by Robbie, a second by Aaron. Any further discussion for approving the meeting minutes? All in favor indicate by raising your hand, either virtually or in person. Is there anyone who would like to abstain or object to the approval of the meeting notes? Hearing none, motion passes. Next on the agenda is an update on the state and college budget. And I'll ask John Parker to join me in filling in any additional things. Very impressed with the state budget. Probably most impressed with the $100 million that the governor put in the budget to allow us to hire full-time faculty. We're still looking toward the district and the allocation before we know. If I was to guesstimate, we're going to have an opportunity to hire between 1 and 3 faculty. For those of you who don't know, the way that we hire faculty, and these are new positions, we traditionally replace position, meaning somebody retires, and we only have enough funding to hire someone to replace the retiree or someone who leaves us for another opportunity. In this case, the way we expand positions is the state has to fund it, being a publicly funded organization. And so the governor put $100 million to fund full-time faculty. So we're looking to see what that's going to look like at the ground level, the campus level. We also have funding in the way of cost of living allowances for SIA, or what is known as triple SP, as student equity. That's much needed budgets that support great work on our campus. And then there is budget for fighting against homelessness. And so there'll be an opportunity for the college by way of Vice President Perez's office meeting the basic needs of students. So the state budget looks good. The challenge is that a lot of these funds are one time. And so we'll get through this 21-22 funding year, academic year. We should be in a great place. But being in California, none of us really know what next year is going to look like. John, are you able to provide an update in terms of how the college ended the year? I know we're still going through the close of the budget, but how are we looking in terms of the closure?
We're looking good for the first time in several years. I don't recall how many. We will end the year in the black. The amount to be confirmed, but it's not even close. We did a reconciliation with the district's forecast for June 30th fiscal year 2021 year end close versus ours here at the campus in the business office. And it was a de minimis difference. So we're confident that it will be substantial. Once the district finalizes, I'll be able to report.
Great. And we know that your team in business services do a tremendous job, but as a college, we really benefited from what amounts to about $10 million of HERF stimulus funds. In fact, between CARES, HERF 2, HERF 3, we're looking at over $13 million that was infused into the college's budget. To put that in perspective, a normal year, we would have about $1 million worth of discretionary funding. Well, what do I mean by discretionary funding? That is funding over and beyond staffing, benefits. We would typically have $1 million to operate the college. Well, if there was a silver lining in this pandemic, is that the federal government and the state government infused a large amount of capital, realizing that community colleges stimulate the economy. And so we are likely to have over a 2-year period close to $12 million to support the great work of our faculty, classified professional supervisors, administrators. And so it's so very important for those of you who received HERF 2 or HERF 3, which again, John and Administrative Services have been sending out award letters. Please spend that money, because we don't want to return 1 penny, 1 nickel, 1 dime. And it is a very short period of time for a group of people who traditionally wouldn't have this amount of money. And so we want to make sure we do so in the most meaningful way possible. John, any other updates on HERF?
If you'd like me to review the different HERF fund sources and the expenditure deadlines?
Sure, please.
All right, great. I'll just share here real quick. I hate to be redundant, but the more communication, the better here. And it's just for us to help everyone utilize their resources. As Ricky said, we don't want to send any money back. I'm not an advocate of sending money back. We'll find a way to spend it down, nor do we want to wait until the last minute to spend these funds down. Worst case scenario, however, is we will not send money back. We would disperse the balance on the respective deadlines as emergency grants to students. Here you're looking at the MSI and the HERFs. This is MSI 1, HERFs 2, MSI 2, HERFs 3 state block grant, and the new SB 85 relief grant for enrollment and retention. You'll recall HERFs 1 deadline was June 7th, 2021. HERFs, the MSI 1 was attached to HERFs 1. However, that has been extended until May fiscal 22 or May calendar 2022. HERF 2 is and MSI 1 has an earlier expiration of March 2022. The question was posed previously why MS1 has a later date than MSI 2, and that's because the extension was granted. If there was an extension granted for MSI 2, that will go into fiscal year 23. I don't know if that will be the case. We'll know sometime next spring. HERF 3, we have a deadline of next June 2022, along with the state block grant and SB 85. So please, we've been receiving great questions, requests, clarifications for funds. Keep in mind, I just want to show the next slide here. Qualifying eligible expenses and prohibited expenses. We're receiving a lot of scrutiny from the district. They have kicked back a lot of requests asking for justification and how it supports remote instruction or technology, professional development, training, etc. Any of these eligible expenses. If it falls outside of this criteria, it is being scrutinized and sent back to the campus and the requestor, as these are federal funds that have an additional layer of scrutiny and subject to audit. So we want to ensure that we are in compliance. I appreciate everyone for elaborating and providing detail on the description in the HERF expense request form. So if we're kicking it back, or if the district is kicking it back, just know that we want to ensure we remain in compliance with these expenditures. Anything else you'd like me to add, Ricky?
No, thank you, John. And you all may be wondering, why do we continually go over this? One, it is a very large sum of money. And as John indicated, it is absolutely being scrutinized by the federal government, our elected officials. And we have to be mindful that in a lot of cases, community colleges say, hey, we don't have enough money to do X, Y, and Z. And now we find ourselves in this situation where we have an abundance of money. And so we need to make sure that we spend it in the most meaningful way possible, in alignment with the things that John already pointed out. If you would like a copy of this PowerPoint, please feel free to email John. Everyone who received funding received a summation of the PowerPoint with an award letter. It looks like, Tilly, you may have a question or a hand.
I do. I just want to make a comment as well. Thank you, John, for sharing. And just in case there's people out there that say, I thought I put in a request and I haven't seen anything come back with that, or I haven't heard anything from that. We please work with your supervisor and manager, or work with your VP. Each area is working on how those are being allocated. And I know in my area in particular, we've had some transitions. So right now I'm working in particular with Dr. Masa Omei of things that not sure if they had been processed or not. We're just double checking. We're working together and making sure that we're trying to meet all the needs of the requests that were put in, and make sure that they also qualify in one of those buckets, as John shared earlier. So please don't worry. Don't go to the president and tell him he never received the money. Just come back and work within your areas. If there's something, things can get missed. When these are sent in emails, sometimes they just get buried. So ask again. But we do have we have money, and we are trying to get it spent. And so please go back to your supervisor and make sure. The other second thing I had, Ricky, is that I received a text from Jocelyn Hill, and her internet is out till 6 p.m. She apologizes. She will not be able to attend.
Yeah, Tilly, if I may add before Ricky, you jump in. Great point. We were just addressing one today, Tilly, that I let slip through the cracks due to turnover or whatnot. Please follow up with us. I track them the best way that I can using a spreadsheet and various files in Outlook. And keep in mind, as Ricky mentioned, this over $13 million. This is almost a third of our GFU unrestricted funds. It's a lot of money, takes a lot of management, a concerted effort. And you may recall one of my presentations, the acronym EBM. Everyone is a budget manager. It's just not me, the VPs, the managers or deans. It is everyone from the requester all the way up to the president. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, John. Excellent, thanks, John. And I'll just add this, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, for all of the members of College Council, we probably get a question every day. And the most common question is, or it's maybe not even a question, it's a comment. The most common comment is, oh, I didn't know I could use CARES funds or HERF funds for that. Folks, this is a very unique time in history that if there is something that you need, in fact, Sean, I was talking to Tilly just the other day, and Sean and Robbie asking whether or not we had put in the order. I think we talked about a teleprompter and other things that help us with these remote broadcasts, webinars, things that we could have never dreamed about being able to access it. You may say, well, what does a teleprompter have to do with COVID or HERF? We're looking at the reality that people have events in the Seville Theater, people have events on campus where they may be giving speeches, and that will help them with their speech, help them stay on message, so on and so forth. And so there's an opportunity both for Sean and Robbie to put in requests, not infrastructure in a true sense of the word, but technology functions that we need to use now. And let me give a shout out to Sean and Eric and Robbie and Majda. They have done a tremendous job. Hopefully you all had a chance to see Denise's send off, the chancellor's mural unveiling. All of those productions now that have to be live broadcast either via YouTube or Zoom are made possible because of folks like Sean and Majda and Eric, but they need to be able to have the technology to be able to do so. Matter of fact, I'll share real quickly. Normally when we do convocation, I'll get an email from a faculty member saying, well, we're a college. Shouldn't you be able to do these high-level broadcasts And the fact of the matter is we didn't have the resources to be able to purchase some of the technology to allow you to do that. And now we do. That's just an example, folks. There is someone out there watching. There's a member of your constituency groups who needs something, who could be more effective supporting students, who could be more effective teaching if they had X, Y, or Z. As Tilly said, please work with your vice president, please work with your dean, your supervisor. If there is, in fact, something that you need to support students, we'd love to be able to get it for you. Any questions from the other members of College Council? Marciano is charged with bringing the MSI group together because there is quite amount of money. Matter of fact, we just learned on Friday, I believe, either Thursday or Friday of last week, that we received an additional 1.2 million of MSI funds. And so I've asked Marciano to begin working with programs like Puente and Hubu and other programs on campus, Black Studies, Chicano Studies, to make sure that these folks have access to these resources. In fact, Marciano, let me go on record as just saying we should have the best social justice and the best Hubu conference in the history of our college. I've already outlined some things that I believe our students would benefit from having with some of these MSI minority serving institution funds. Again, on Friday, an additional allocation. So between the 700,000 that we already had and the 1.2 million that came out on Friday, that is nearly $2 million just in MSI funds. And we want to see how we can help our students who are facing food insecurity, homelessness, or who just need an opportunity to earn a living while they're going to college. And so we will likely offer some scholarships, some grants to students with these MSI funds. Any questions from the members of College Council? Now, I know someone's going to email us saying, is it possible to get X, Y, and Z? So we went over, I skipped around real quick. So we covered number 2, number 4, and number 5 on the agenda. I will go back to number 3, which is a update on reopening. There is an increase of the Delta variant. I am getting daily updates. For those of you who don't know, I do serve on the board of Sharp Hospital, and so I do get daily updates in terms of the Delta variant, and it is very, very real. And I want to send my sincere appreciation to Tilly Chavez and everyone who is working on the district committee taking a look at this. But what I'll do is turn it over to each vice president and ask them to provide a high-level overview of what planning is taking place in terms of COVID. I had a chance to visit the admissions office on campus last week. Shout out to Megan, had a chance to interact with Megan. I was looking for Dora because there wasn't the bathroom open. So I wanted to stop by and say hi to Dora, make sure she knew we were opening up the restrooms. But if we could do a round robin real quick with the vice presidents in terms of the reopen plan as it relates to the Delta variant and the fall. Marciano, do you mind going first, and then we'll come to Tilly?
Sure. So for student services, we're currently have offices that are open. And so admissions and records, financial aid, we've got DSPS, student health, mental health. We've got several offices that are all providing services this week and next week. And as we move into August and September, we'll be moving to having more in-person services available for students. Some of the offices are doing it by appointment only. We will have a campus notice that will be sent out with a flyer that has all of the information, which offices are open on what days providing in-person service. And of course, we're keeping safety in the forefront of everything that we're doing as we're opening. So folks are just getting back to the offices and kind of doing an inventory of their spaces and getting it ready for being able to serve our students the best way that we can.
Thank you. Thank you, Marciano. Before I go to Tilly, the thing that's important normally, and this is not normal, this is our new normal, people would inquire about student service offices being open at the same time, 8 to 5 p.m. or 8 to 6 p.m. I want to just go on record as saying that is not what we're requesting. What we're requesting is that each office take a look at the number of employees who are returning, who are able to return, and to create a schedule that can then be relayed to the campus and our students so that people at least know when we are open. So some offices might be open on Monday and Wednesday. Some offices may be open on Tuesday or Thursday. And you will say, well, that's going to send missed messages. Yes, it may. But that is the staffing levels of offices. Offices like admission and records and financial aid have more employees than an office like HowWorks or DSPS. And so we're not dealing with the same number of employees in every single office. So bear with us. And I want to thank those employees, our colleagues who have returned to campus. Thank you for your leadership, because our students, it's very clear, the survey data, that our students prefer to be supported in person, and they also prefer to take in-person classes. So we're doing our very best in as safe and healthy manner possible. Tilly.
Thank you, Ricky. Well, from instruction, thank you, Marciano. There's a lot of information to digest and keep up with right at the same time. From instruction, we've been working on schedules for quite a bit of time because we have to prepare them a semester in advance. And I just want to, if I'm allowed to just do a little recap of how we arrived to the schedule that we did. And we were asked to try and hit to 25% of our classes to be face-to-face or hybrid of some format. We went to faculty, deans worked really hard with their chairs and with faculty to decide what classes would be offered coming back in the fall. We had all kinds of variations of what people wanted to do, from people who have been wanting to be on the campus from the day we left to others that are experiencing something new of what online or remote learning is, and experiencing that some great things have maybe happened as well. And we were also trying to be very cautious. So in the instruction cabinet, we worked with the deans and the chairs, and actually gave the task to a couple of our faculty in sciences and said, can you help me out? Let's go do some research. And what did they recommend for the fall semester? And it was really difficult for them. It was a lot harder, I think, than they thought it was going to be, of making a recommendation for a college like that. Well, we all came to the conclusion that we felt that social distancing for fall was still something we should consider, even if guidelines were to change. And I hoped to try to keep with that as best I could. Long story short, we're at 92 face-to-face classes coming to campus and 122 hybrid classes, which is only 16%. I know we really wanted the 25%. That was where we were able to land. And I feel really comfortable because we are doing some social distancing along with the other deans. I went around the campus and we measured places. We know where seats are supposed to be. I can tell you what spaces are available and what are not. And long story short, I feel really comfortable that we're offering our classes in the fall with this Delta variant, Ricky, as you asked, with as much safety as possible, because we do have the ability to social distance. We also offered the ability to go outside and get the tents. Not many people really opted for that route once we figured out that the technology would be difficult to view, those kind of things that brought into it. But that's still an option if people are truly wanting those things. And so we're still in the same boat. We're just looking at enrollment on a daily basis and trying to figure out if we need to repackage some FTEF to maybe do some late starts. And that's just kind of the real basic on that one, and just keeping everyone as healthy as possible. We have a team working on statements for a mask wearing policy and under syllabus, and also some toolkits. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Those are some things that instruction is doing. And I'll leave it there for if there's any questions later.
Thank you, Tilly. And, thank you, the chairs, the deans, our faculty for your leadership. I think the number that you mentioned that are hybrid and or in person is a realistic number. It may wind up being the best choice possible given what's going on with the new variant. And there is not a need to rush back to campus only for us to have to turn around and possibly have things remote again. I also want to address this. There's an ongoing conversation about why do faculty get to teach from home? And that's really just a fallacy. There have been faculty in the nursing department, our exercise science faculty. I mean, I can go down the list of the faculty who have been teaching on campus throughout this pandemic. In fact, it's been their leadership that has allowed us to expand the opportunity to programs like dance and theater, because we've learned from our nursing faculty, we've learned from our coaches that certain things can in fact be taught. And so for those of you who are inquiring about why do a certain group have to come on campus and another group doesn't, folks, there are people on campus. The facilities teams, administrative services teams have always been on campus throughout this pandemic, financial aid, admission and records. And so for anyone who is inquiring about who gets to stay home versus who has to come to campus, I'd invite you to tour the campus with me so you can see the great faculty, the great classified professionals, supervisors, managers who are on campus every single day, practicing social distancing, practicing safety measures that are put into place by folks like Dottie and John Parker and Tilly and risk management. So there's some things we've learned that allow us to offer things on campus in as safe in as safe as a way possible. John Parker.
Thank you, sir. We are facilitating many requests for campus access. Just today, recently, thanks to Dina for working out, there were certain buildings, departments that did not have fob access. Their fobs had quit working. And once we went in, it looks like there was a deadline that was entered. It should automatically renew, but it did not in this case. We were able to fix that. Access to restrooms. That's why it's key to complete the campus access and form stacks, that is, sorry, in form stacks. So facilities knows, dispatch knows which buildings to open and clean. If not, those buildings and restrooms will not be unlocked. Dina has been doing a great job in entering work orders for plexiglass requests. Again, those work orders are a level 4 priority at the district level. Their resources are limited to the 4 campuses, and they are handling priorities. So that can take up to 30 days for the plexiglass request. It may not take that long. It should not take that long, but it can take up to 30 days depending on the number of 1 through 3 priorities that are in the system. Tilly, may I defer to you? When I was out last week, I know at Health and Safety, we discussed food service, and you were able to attend in my absence. Can you provide a brief update?
So thank you, John. Yes, I have actually been in communication with Nancy Blickman, and she will be attending our Campus Ready meeting on Thursday because the question came up last week about food trucks, et cetera. Well, she has assured us that she's going to come and talk about it. But one of the things that I just took away was basically the cafeteria will not be open. That's just not on there. There will be no food trucks, but rest assured we will have food on campus. And the way she mentioned it to me, and I wait for her to come Thursday to say it in a better way, but she was like, there will be kiosks around the campus for people to pick things up. So you could get on your phone and order, I don't know, like a cup of coffee. Go over to that kiosk, you've already paid for it and everything, and then it releases that it's yours and it releases the cup of coffee to you. So these type of kiosks around the campus so that you can pick up food, et cetera. And I believe and John, you and I being the senior VPs right now, need the help of the store that's over in the MS building, the cafe would also be a place that there would be some food there. And I don't want to mess up the name of it because we both just mess it up every time we talk. So
Yeah,
that's what I have so far.
I call it the C store. Thank you, Tilly, for providing that update. So the C store, that's what I'm just going to call it for now. And coffee services, last update we received would be available on a daily basis until approximately 1:30. Again, I can't stress enough and thank everyone for your patience. For us, it's like ramping back up, coming back to campus. We're mobilizing right now. There's a lot going on. And if something slips through the cracks, please feel free to reach out to Tilly and myself. Roxanne actually has been doing a great job fielding various requests for equipment, Roxanne and her team, for equipment and supplies. We ordered additional pallets of PPE, which is being inventoried in our storage room just behind business services here. And we're coordinating a PPE kit distribution and general PPE pickup for the campus. Again, want to thank Jay and his facilities team for being very flexible and responsive to real-time requests for building access and whatnot. Again, please just be patient with us. We're doing the best that we can. And if it's an urgency, please reach out to Tilly and myself via email or phone. We're getting hundreds of emails a day, and we may not be able to get to them until close of business.
Great. Any questions about the plan for COVID? Hearing none, Tilly, if I could turn it back over to you to talk about City Ready, and Caesar, if you want to chime in about City Ready as well. And I've had a chance to attend, actually looking forward to trying to stop by tomorrow, but we have launched City Ready. And Tilly, if you could provide an update.
Sure, Vicki. Thank you. And really a lot of inspiration by everyone here and people just at the campus of having conversations of how do we provide, the idea of was employee orientations to come back to work, those people that haven't been here, et cetera. And every Thursday from noon to 1, we offer a webinar, Campus Ready. You'll see posters around the campus, and just want to also give a shout out the campus posters that are out there. You'll see the individuals that are on the poster were previous photos from previously used. So yes, those students are side by side. They're not socially distanced, but we were able to get Caesar's people to go ahead and crop mask on them. We had heard that the individuals were not socially distanced. We just want to make sure we're aware of it. We also just used our own resources that we have. Anyways, every Thursday, we've had some guests that come. While Berta Harris wasn't able to attend herself, she sent the information with Dean Jeannie Tyler about the early educational center and how students might be affected and what kind of would we be seeing students, et cetera. So we invite people after questions are asked. This week, we have Nancy Wickman coming to talk about food trucks, food services. I think Dean Robbie Yule will be joining us this Thursday and having a conversation about the LRC. And I warn you, Robbie, because you're also tied to technology, there may be a couple technology questions that come that direction, right? So these are different topics that we'll cover every week. Marciano is always there with me, so is John. We have a group of individuals that also help us answer those questions. And please jump in, Marciano and John, about Campus Ready if there's anything I've missed. One thing, I really kudos to Susanna Kennemer from our enrollment management team, who really was listening to what we do with Campus Ready for employees, suggested that we do the same thing for students. So beginning this Friday from 12:30 to 1, we will be also offering a student Campus Ready to address their questions. And Caesar, if I missed anything, please jump in. John, Marciano.
Yeah, so there's an email that has a link to the Campus Ready sessions that goes out to the campus. It also has the links to the previous sessions, and those previous session videos can also be found on the City College website under the COVID update. So those videos are up, and available for folks to view when needed.
Can you tell us a little bit about the questions, Caesar?
Let's see, questions. Yes. So there's also a link on the invite to the event where folks could submit questions via Google form. And so, some questions may not be easily answered. So it gives us a little bit of time to do some research to find those answers. So yeah, please, you could provide your questions ahead of time before the event via the Google form, which is also located on the email to the campus.
I guess for me, I would just say that if you're not receiving the information of what's happening on our campus here at this particular committee and this meeting here, then you can also get it every week on Thursdays. Sorry, Ricky, you gave me the mic and I never gave it back.
No, Tilly, that was a perfect way to conclude, right? So information is flowing out to the college in a number of forms, number of methods. We are doing a weekly orientation / Q&A that is city ready. So for those of you who have questions, who have ideas, who have concerns, that is your platform to be able to bring them so that people can answer them. I sent out an update today, which really College Council is the place for us to provide updates, but I'd like to get out an announcement about once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks. And then, of course, our chancellor and the district sends a number of updates. And then monthly, Caesar and I try to highlight wonderful things that are taking place on our campus, people being promoted, people winning awards, our students, a number of things that highlight the great work that's going on campus. So if you have any questions, there is a website for COVID. Caesar, maybe you can drop it in the chat or at some point drop it on YouTube to make sure that people know where the landing page is for COVID. If you go to the sdcity.edu and type in COVID updates, you should have a direct link to the landing page for COVID updates. In the event that is not your preferred way of seeing the updates, thank you, Caesar. You could also watch the College Council videos and or attend the City Ready. And I did get an email just moments ago saying that the page didn't work, but it appears to work for Caesar. So that does mean it's working. Thank you, Caesar. You can stop sharing now. So I wanted to just put it out there for those watching on YouTube and College Council. Where do you go to get the updated information about the college's plan for COVID? One last thing that I'll say, this is not a top-down administration. I meet with the Academic Senate during the year every Thursday. During the summer, we've been meeting every other Thursday. I continue to meet with the classified Senate President Sean, as well as Jocelyn Hill, Dr. Jocelyn Hill, who is the supervisory rep. And we have our monthly managers meeting, which we actually happen to have one today. So these are all the places where we get information out in terms of what's going on in the campus. And we do take advice and suggestions from our wonderful City College colleagues. Any questions from the group about COVID-19 updates? Okay, hearing none. The next item on the agenda, bear with me, as I have lost I believe Dr. Murray had an item. Was that for this meeting, Dr. Murray, or did you, or Susan, did you want that item for the next College Council meeting?
That was going to be the next one. Thank you.
Okay, not a problem. Never doubt Aaron Flanagan. I apologize. was reading an email, wanted to make sure we didn't have an oversight. I know Susan sent an email saying she wanted something on College Council, but it was for next meeting. Are there any updates for the good of the order?
I guess I just wanted to add, Ricky, a little bit, if I could, about, you mentioned the Delta variant, and this college has been so flexible and nimble, I think, through this whole process over the last year and a half. And we just continue to ask that of others. We just never know. I just put it out there last week at Campus Ready that we're not saying that all classes need to be online and not face-to-face. We will work really hard to maintain those and safely. But if in case something does happen, we just want people to be prepared, that if they needed to move in a different direction, that they get themselves prepared for that. I don't know that we'll be there again. I'm just sharing. And I think that's what you were saying earlier.
Absolutely. The fact that it matters that none of us know. I wish I could look into a crystal ball and determine what's going to happen tomorrow. Not to mention next week or 3 weeks from now. What I do know is that this team, I love this college. I love what I do for a living. I love the people who I work with. I love our students. And I can assure you that whatever we do will be done based on love. It'll be done based on caring. It'll be done based on being student ready. And it'll be done with the input of our wonderful faculty, classified professionals, supervisors, and managers. And we may not all agree. But what I can tell you is that every college in the country is struggling with what is the right thing to do, particularly when people have politicized this pandemic. And I want to be clear that I support those who desire to be vaccinated, as well as those who choose not to. What we have to be able to do is continue to support one another and protect one another and keep everyone safe. What that means may be different to every single person. And we'll do our best to take those things into consideration as we are making decisions. These are not easy decisions, folks. This is the toughest set of circumstances that any of us have ever lived through. And so we require to double check, triple check, to communicate at the highest level possible. But that communication is a two-way street. So we invite you to City Ready. We invite you to College Council. We invite you to email your supervisor, your manager, your administrator, if you have questions, if you have ideas. And please help us by spending that HERF money, funding, in as meaningful way possible. Any other updates for the good of the matter? Hearing none, again, you all received an update from me today. Invite you all to mark your calendars for convocation. We'll have an opportunity to hear from our new chancellor, our AFT leadership, our board leadership, and a number of other people as we begin to prepare ourselves for the kickoff of the fall semester. Buckle up. It's going to be an adventure. Let's do it with City College pride, with City College love. If there's anything I can do to help you all through this pandemic in supporting our students, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. Other than that, you all have a good day. Thank you all for being here. Take care.